Zoomi's prayers. It seemed that sometimes they were there, and sometimes they were not there. Were the Magi phantoms? Were they invisible? At times, Zoomi, with his wibble-wobble personality, seemed to wibble to another world, there to wobble for a while, then to return. It was part of the riddle. Were they not? Already Zoomi and Shaki could expect to live to great age, for wasn't Mers more than 1,000 years old? Merns were said to immerse, that is, not to die, but to go to another place. Perhaps Zoomi was prematurely visiting this place. "I'm back," said Zoomi. "What do you mean you're back? We didn't know you were gone," said Mers. "Very funny, Mers, very funny. This is why you had grandchildren, so that you could make fun of us?" "I had grandchildren because I had grandchildren. And I have a grandfather because I have a grandfather. Anyway, we are in this together, Mers." "Assuredly so. A grandfather is the patriarch of all that is, explaining to the young the doctrine of ends, which everyone has, everyone lives. The godless, too, have a doctrine of ends. See the young woman tossing up the grain with her flail. The chickens, very stupid birds, simply watch the chaff fly by. They won't eat it. They eat the grain. They have a doctrine of ends. The young Merns have a doctrine of ends, trying to win the prize at school. Everyone wants to know where leads the end of the road. When the godless stand in the judgment, their legal case, their moral case collapses, shut out. Do you remember, Zoomi, the night you lost your key and couldn't get into your house? You were frantic. It is very upsetting not to be able to get into your own home. Imagine not being able to get into the house of our Elohim, and there is nothing else. The disbelievers of Elohim, they are nowhere else. Vain and light persons, there's nothing in them. Like Tooties, said Zoomi. Well, yes, like Tooties, the two-dimensional people. We must start always at the beginning of things. The creation of the world is itself subject to the law of ends. First was created chaos, the substratum of the work of creation, and not properly such a creative work itself. It was to gradually be done away. For the world is the non-divine, all that is not God. For though he is in all things, he is not all things. The creation of the world is the realization of something different from God. Hence the world comes forth, first of all, in a condition which answers to its contrast to God. In the course of 6 days, it is raised out of this condition into one pleasing to God. Its history, created in men, is to develop an over-increasing likeness to God. Concentrated in men is to develop an over-increasing likeness to God. Elohim, unchangeable, yet his infinity cannot be reached, so he seems always to be increasing. In the same manner, the earth was of chaotic primitive matter, as yet formless and confused. Such a creation includes the possibility of its relapse into that materiality which is the foundation of man's being. It is the Spirit of God hovering above this stiff, still chaos, which energizes it and brings it to life. A blanket of water flowed over the earth, then darkness to press together, to thicken, settled over this flood of waters. The fervent heat of chaos was quenched, the Spirit bringing order to all. The Spirit is the spirit of love. You see, Zoomi, riddles everywhere. Light came upon all things with a loud, vibrating sound. Elohim, come step by step to a divine complacency that is pleased with all that he had done. The darkness was overcome by the light. This is important, Zoomi, as it was then, it is now. The light of God will fully extinguish the darkness in all worlds. What about the Tooties? Asked Zoomi. The Tooties? The two-dimensional people of Flatland? Well, the Tooties cast no shadow. They are akin to the angels. Also, during the first 3 days of creation, there was no sun to count the hours, the days, the years. The days may have been each millions of years. But Mers, why didn't Elohim create everything perfect? The person of Elohim defines all things. He is good, the only good. All that he does is perfect. In that Elohim is divine, nothing else can be divine. He is one. So the riddle is, Mers said, the riddle is one every man who ever lives will have to solve for himself. God is spirit, and all that he is and does is spirit. Not illusion, Zoomi, and this is important. Spirit is a reality, and a greater reality than the material. Man was created to live in both worlds, material and spirit. Those who believe in Elohim will live on earth, the human life, and a somewhat unconscious spiritual life. Aspects of this are prayer, prophecy, good deeds, meditation, repentance. Repentance, for this is the very move from our primitive material existence into the eternal world of the Spirit. Repentance is glued to us by the gift of faith. My head is making that loud buzzing sound, Mers. I know. It is high, it is deep, yet it is true. Nothing else matters but these things. You had best let them into your head, also into your heart and soul. Faith is the faithful work of the Son of God, given to us as though we ourselves had done the work. The life, the death, the resurrection. Death, resurrection, Son of God, said Zoomi. Yes, Zoomi, I'm afraid so. These are the tremendous riddles which have for centuries floated through my soul. Floated? I don't think they float, Mers. They are too heavy, said Zoomi. A long silence ensued. There is more. We Merns, we Magi, are in some way to be part of it. Let's not talk any more, Mers. That sound is getting louder and louder, said Zoomi. Mers and Zoomi parted, Mers reflecting. Zoomi is right, reflected Mers that evening. Zoomi is just a boy. But isn't that the age when all things should be put right? Wouldn't life be better lived in the knowledge of these truths? Mers was determined that the boyhood of the Magi, these boys, his boys, would be excellent in all ways. Already they had sat among the elders, told their dreams, adventured to the cave, fought the murderous Scythians, journeyed through Flatland, the two-dimensional world. They sought and told riddles in all things, sorties with Mers, learning the physics of things, talked with angels, stormed the gates of Caspia, fought battles, narrowly escaping death many times. What a boyhood! At the rate they were running through life, they never would be elders. But we know a secret they were yet to discover. Some of low stature in the world of humans were to pay homage and adore the child-born king of all things, and thus usher in the most critical moment of history. Men were begun to be entered into the life of the Son of God. Amen.